All Nerds podcast. I'm Dan Vedabunker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And if I sound a little hoarse, it's because I might have COVID.
Oh, great.
I woke up with this morning, and I'm like, this only happens to me when I'm sick, Kenton. I mean, I'm not going to assume it's COVID, but, that's what's going around these days.
It only happens to you when you're sick? You only catch COVID when you're sick? Is that what you just said?
Well, no, I'm saying my voice goes when I'm sick.
Oh.
My hoarseness of my voice, that's what usually happens. When I get a cold or any type of a throat infection, my throat just goes. But we are, of course, going to talk about Better Call Saul. That is what this podcast is going to be for the next few weeks. And I've got here, I'm going to share my screen. I've caught up on the episodes that I missed last week, and I'm going to blame AMC for my confusion because there's no indication in this episode. I watched episode 1. I watched the opening credits. Oops, I should turn down the music. I don't really need the music here. How do I mute this? See, this is the other problem with AMC. Well, this is actually more of a Prime thing. There we go. Anyway, I watched the credits. No mention of any writers in the opening credits of this episode, of the opening episode. Kenton?
So they didn't lump them together like they did on TV?
No, they made two separate episodes,
Oh.
or two separate opening credits for the two separate episodes on Better Call Saul. And you can see here on Prime Video, it looks very much like any other thing where it just shows the episodes, episode 1, episode 2 to episode 3. There's no continuation, no indication that, see, it says available, and this one actually is available 2 days later. Carrot and Stick, episode 2, which was the second half we didn't talk about last week.
So that was not available the same time as it was on TV. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying I didn't see it. So whether or not I didn't see it like this, all I just clicked on when I saw Better Call Saul, and I like the graphic. Hey, I love this graphic with the red jacket. Yeah. And I think that's symbolic of the blending of the black and white and the color segments this season because it is the final season. We're going to see those two elements come together. But I just clicked on that and watched the episode, and then it stopped and played the credits, and it didn't autoplay. So I didn't see anything else there. So I just stopped and left. And so then when it came back,
that was last week. Yeah, last week's episode we were talking, and I couldn't say anything about the second episode.
Correct.
And I wasn't sure where one episode ended and one began. So that kind of made it hard to have a complete discussion about the show.
Although I will say you didn't need to be so worried about this Manitoba spoilers because I knew about that. That was in an earlier episode. Those driver's licenses, we saw him.
Yeah, but the fact that they came up again.
Well, he had them made. Nacho had those made for him and his dad in case something went wrong with the cartel. He knew he might need to use them. So I remember when that happened. So that's something that a couple seasons ago he did that.
Yeah, no, I know that, but there was an update to that where there was a switcheroo going on in that safe, and for me to talk about that would have been a pretty big spoiler.
Oh, I guess so. I guess. Yeah, so. Yeah, I guess the safe part.
Because
so that confused me. I gotta say, if we want to start there, that confused me what they were doing. Like, I know that Mike knows what he's doing, right? He is like, he kind of trusts that he just knows what to do everything. It's just, I love Mike. He's just so awesome. So there's a reason for it, but I didn't get it. I didn't get the reason for it until then the cartel showed up and broke into the safe. And of course they're going to do that. And of course they're going to plant information there to make them think that Nacho's dead. And, or what do they do? What did he plant in there?
Well, they're implicating him. They're implicating Nacho. What they're doing is they're setting it up so that Nacho is the fall guy. And then what we see in the episode this week is all of them accepting that is, and including Nacho. But there's only one way this can go down. And Nacho says, if you protect my dad, then I'm on board.
Are we going to say spoiler alert?
Well, this is where we should, because we haven't said what the lead of this the episode that just ran this week is very notable for one giant reason. So, spoiler alert, don't listen on if you don't know what happens on the third episode of Better Call Saul.
All right, so I'm going to put it up here, and we'll put it on and just have it on in silence. But I think, again, the show is so incredible, and it is just, they're so great at, I think the operative word here is tension, right? And that's kind of like every scene, not every scene, but a lot of the scenes are so tension-filled, and you don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's still black. Oh my God, you can't see that, can you?
See what? Oh no, you can't share it with me.
I can't share it with you. All right, forget it. Then we won't be able to look at it. Never mind that.
Oh, brother.
Jeez.
Put a blocker on it.
Stop. Amazon. Like, I'm gonna want to broadcast it on Teams to people. That's so stupid. Okay, so we won't have to be able to watch it. That's okay. We can talk about it. Yeah. So this week on the show, and I can even just go to the description of it. It's a
Oh,
pretty apt description without being spoilery. Still on the run, Nacho is forced to choose where his loyalties lie. Jimmy doubles down. So there's like two sides of it, right? So we'll start with the Nacho side. And Nacho is on the run. But it's good to see Mike fight for him. Like Mike, what was in the last episode? Fring was gonna go get the dad and do what? Torture him? Like, what was he planning to do? Do you think with Nacho's dad before Mike stepped in there?
well, we don't know. We don't. You can all you know is that this is a group of people embroiled in 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 a life of crime, and their rules and what they know is going to happen is not necessarily where our minds go. So it's you just know it's going to be bad.
Right, because of everything that's happened
Yeah.
that's come before, right? Everything
Right.
that we've seen indicates it's going to be bad. It was very cool to see the other side of that conversation. I like that. I like that we saw him, Nacho, in the motel, and we saw that whole interaction with him, the guy watching him in the motel. So who was it on the phone with him this whole time? I thought it was Mike at first. I got to say, I should have realized it wasn't Mike's voice. But who is it on the phone telling him what to do as he escaped the house and it kind of fled across the border?
I that was last week for me, Dan. I don't
Oh, sorry.
remember.
All right. Well, anyway, I
That
wasn't
was
sure.
last
If anybody
week's
knows, if
episode.
anybody can
Yeah.
clarify that for me, that'd be great. But that person was also in cahoots with somebody because they had a person watching him across the way, right, the hotel. And I think even at this point, Nacho has made his decision about what he's going to do.
Well, he's
Because he
still
just
running though at the beginning of this new episode. He's
yeah,
still
I guess
running and he's got to go into the oil canister, which by the way, I would not have done.
no. I
Uh
think there's better places to hide there, and I was like,
yeah.
what is he doing? Keep running, dude. You have tons of time.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other places.
Space.
Yeah, he could have
And I
kept
thought,
running. Yeah,
yeah,
bad idea.
go, yeah. And right away, of course, because you could picture it. The brothers, the killer brothers get out of there. And I mean, he's not that far from where he parked his truck either.
Just so stupid.
And
I
so
think they just wanted that scene. They just love that
right,
idea of somebody hiding in
right.
old oil like that. He gets down. It's so gross. And again, tension. Like, you feel the tension. Like, how long can he stay under? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody. The answer to the question is as long as he needs to, because in every situation like that, he's not going to drown in oil. He's going to pop back up after they go. But still
Right.
very, very tension filled, right?
Right. And but right away, one of the brothers looks over and goes, I'll go there. Of course. That's what he does. And okay, you're underwater in oil. How do you know, or under oil, holding your nose with your eyes closed? How do you know when that guy goes?
You can't hear. There's no way you can hear under there.
Very easily, he could have popped out of there and just got one in the head.
Yeah.
That was a pretty risky scenario that he put himself in with no exit. And that's why I kind of I thought he should just run through the field. Like, it's not like you still have the jump on them. If you run through the field, you can still then.
I mean, there's so many different directions you could have gone.
Yeah,
right.
There's all kinds of places in there where you could evade them.
But I think they wanted to create a situation in which he had to hide.
Yeah.
Like, again, that tension scene where he had to hide from them, and that was like the best thing they could come up with. So it's not bad, but I do question the logic of that for sure. So then what happens to him?
Well, so he
gets away.
He waits till night.
Yeah. He waits till night. No, I was confused by that. It looked to me like I thought there was like days in there. That speeding up scene, I just get confused by those rapid scenes. And then when they're like advancing time, I'm like, I get that, but is this all the same day, or is it just show us like the sun or something? If you just watch it one day, that's much more straightforward. But anyway, so he gets up, he takes off, and then gets in touch with Mike, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then he gets to the hotel, and we see the other side of the conversation.
Right. And this is where I was. Okay, so we know that he's headed towards something bad, and I was surprised that I wasn't sort of expecting what we saw in this episode until later in the season, to tell you the truth. And I still thought right up until the end that escape was possible, that there was another plan that was happening underneath the surface that we were unaware of. So I kept thinking like, oh, it's not what things aren't what they appear to be. I really had that feeling for this episode, but in fact, they were exactly as they appeared to be. As it
Yeah.
turns out.
Now, one thing, of course, what you're talking about is Nacho dying. You should say, right?
Yeah.
That was the big moment, of course, that happened at the end of this episode, where he in this during a standoff, he kills himself. He just takes his own life because he knows that they're gonna kill him. He knows he's gonna die. He might as well just do it himself.
But before he does that, he actually tells them the truth.
Right.
A lot of the truth.
Yes.
Where I did this, I did that, and screw you, and I hate you.
That was great. That was a great scene. He told the old man he put him in that wheelchair because he switched his heart medication. That was a great. I would love that, and I love that actor who plays that. Vincent Gardenia, is that him? Who plays that? Who's it?
Vincent Gardenia is the guy from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, he's the guy in the wheelchair.
No, is that him?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Mark Margolis.
Was that him? Oh yeah, sorry, Mark Margolis.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Vincent Gardenia. Who's that? Why am I thinking that?
That's Little Shop of Horrors guy.
What is he in this? I see the name come up.
Dead or Alive, Vincent Gardenia.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. Died in 1992. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go. He did Little Shop of Horrors and then
he
died.
did very much so. Now I know who you're talking about. Okay, different name then. I'm thinking of a different name. It's so funny how the names, like I knew that name somehow, it just kind of came to my head and it was a different name. Anyway, okay, so yes, you're right.
You know what's interesting about Vincent Gardenia, just on a little aside? His last name's Gardenia. He's in Little Shop of Horrors where the plant is killing people. Gardenia, it's perfect. And it's also starring Ellen Green. And so it's like, what are the odds?
That's hilarious.
Is that why they were selected for the roles? Anyway,
exactly,
go ahead.
Exactly, right, exactly. That is my daughter's favorite musical, Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, I love it. I've always loved it too.
So what
little aside.
I love that character. The guy who plays that, the old man, is awesome. Anyway, everybody's awesome, really. But I wasn't 100%. I wasn't completely surprised by Nacho dying because this is the final season, and we're gonna lose characters. People are gonna start dying and are going away. We know a lot of these people are not around in Breaking Bad, right? So we have to figure out what happened to them, and so now we know what happens to Nacho.
It's very early in the season, though.
It is, though. You're right. Third season, yes. Third episode,
which makes me wonder what else is in store, because I thought this was like finale, or reminded me of the episode of Breaking Bad where Hank gets killed.
Yes,
and that reminded me of that. Where it happened earlier than we might have expected it, because there was still more to go.
It was the second to last episode, or the third to last episode.
I think maybe
like
third to last.
Yeah, and we didn't expect it. Yeah, and this is the same kind of thing. This is something I would expect in them, because they're doing this in two parts, right? Better Call Saul is like doing 7 and 6 or whatever they're doing, 6 and
whatever
7.
It is. Yeah.
I would expect this to be at the end of the first part. Like this would be episode 6 or 7.
Right.
That's the end. He dies, and then we wait until however long we have to wait, 3 months until the rest of it. So that's what I thought that would be, but no, this is it, and this is like holy shit, like this doesn't resolve any. Like there's still a lot of stuff going on here. We still have to find out what happens with Mike. We do find out ultimately what happens with Fring and Salamanca. Is that it for them? We're gonna still see them in this show, or is that gonna go away now?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I kept thinking, all right, so the scene happens. Okay, we're sort of jumping ahead here.
Yeah, sorry.
There's also something lingering from last episode too that we need to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
And that is, last week you mentioned that you thought Kim was saying goodbye to the life of crime in episode 1. Then in episode 2 comes and she proves herself to be tougher than Jimmy. Is in episode 2, and we're seeing a push and pull among that couple in terms of who's the one driving this, when they both have crisis of conscience.
Well, for Kim, it's personal though. She can rationalize it if she doesn't like the people. She doesn't like that couple that running that stupid the scam tax place or whatever. So she doesn't have a problem blackmailing them to do what they want. Like she has no problem doing that because she hates those people. And the same thing with Howard. She doesn't like Howard, so she's up for blackmailing him. But when it comes to hurting people, like I think she's starting to realize how deep Jimmy is with these guys, and that it does affect real people. Like I think this is gonna filter down to affect one of her clients, one of her like pro bono clients, they're gonna be like, on meth or something, or I don't know, whatever it is, that something's going to happen that that will affect, and he's going to, Jimmy's going to be like, well, I'm sorry, it's just the law. What if they go up against each other? Holy shit. What if that happens in the law? Oh, I bet you that happens. I bet you that's going to be a prediction for me. They're going to go up against each other in the law, in the courtyard. Court law. Can't even talk today. It's the COVID. I'm going to blame the COVID.
I mean,
what do you think? Not enough time. Not enough time.
That could very well happen, but I mean, in this week's episode, his what's his name? His assist, his muscle at the mall, Huel, right? Huel asks him the question that I had last week, which is, why are you even doing this? Like,
you're a lawyer. Lawyers make good money.
Right? You're a lawyer with a salary, right? Like, so why do you need this? And he's like, okay, all right, like whatever you say. But even he just thinks it's ridiculous. Even he just doesn't. Yeah. And this is somebody, he's like, we have to do it, but you don't have to.
Right.
And that is but I think the show is very smart in showing that there are times when each one of them would pull the plug on what they're doing. Right. Kim and Jimmy, that each one of them at times would pull the plug on this, or has a crisis of conscience where they pull back from what it is they're doing, and then the other one goads them on. Mm-hmm. So that appears to be something like that's going on. Mm-hmm. And even Kim finding out about Lalo, who Lalo is, and and finding out that he's dead, apparently. Finding out that he's dead.
Didn't get much on that front in this episode.
We got a little, though. We got enough.
Yeah, I was hoping for more Lalo. I don't know why. I shouldn't like Lalo. I don't like that actor.
That's who was following them in the car, right?
I know. It's still like,
it had to have been.
Yes, right. Of course. I agree. And but I guess that's still what Mike is going to be involved in. That Mike and Lalo have something, don't they? I think, and Saul is involved with Lalo, so of course they're all going to be still together. But my question was whether or not we're going to see Fring anymore, or probably still a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we still will, and we know who makes it through to Breaking Bad, and we know, although
right, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe we won't see Fring and Salamanca until Breaking Bad,
right?
But probably not. Not.
We still, I'm still every episode. I'm like, what's happening on Breaking Bad during this? Like, where are we here?
I don't think we've hit it yet. I don't think there's overlap. Is there supposed to be overlap? I thought it was like Saul ends and then Breaking Bad begins.
Well, he doesn't have a mall location.
Isn't he gonna like escape from the ship with the Death Star plans and the in the cruise, and then cruise off and then get captured? Remember how that ends?
How what ends? No, sorry.
It's a Star Wars joke. Damn it.
Oh, I thought
for Star Wars. I remember at the end of Rogue One how it leads directly into the beginning of Star Wars, right?
Right.
So this is the same. The end of Better Call Saul is going to lead directly into the beginning. Whatever the opening scene of Breaking Bad was, it's going to be him. It's going to come to rest on a high school where Walter White is teaching chemistry.
No, we're past that. We're going to be past that because we have the flash forward where he's already Gene and he's working at the Cinnabon.
I know, but I'm talking about the incidents in the main part, not the flash forwards, but the part it's going to catch up. They're going to catch up to each other, right? So I'm saying at some point we're going to see. So you're saying, I don't know. I'm confused. As always, I'm confused.
What I'm saying is we know they've already built the underground meth lab, right?
In Better Call Saul they have done that, but we haven't seen anything from it since, to be honest.
No.
So, so what's going on with that?
Well, we don't know where. So I mean, somebody probably does know in terms of where we're at in Breaking Bad at this point. It would be and it would be very easy for Better Call Saul to show us glimpses of what you just said, like whatever, the school or the camper.
Jesse going to the walking, or even what's his name? Oh, I would love to see what's the guy with the pizza sign? He would like spin the sign on the corner. What's that guy's name? One of Jesse's buddies, a funny one.
Right.
I don't remember.
Oh, those two guys.
Those, and so they're both funny, but the one
Mud
taller guy.
Skids. There's a joke for you. That's basically who they are on Breaking Bad.
Exactly. But anyway, I would love to see that guy in the corner spinning his pizza sign or something like that. Maybe they're going to do that. Maybe they'll do little Easter eggs like that. Maybe not.
Well, I think I'm glad that they've resisted the temptation to do that. Like the time to do it, I think, is in the final run of the episodes, which I think they probably will do. Mm-hmm. And it'll be good. It'll be exciting because they've waited so long. They've it seemed, I think at the end of first season, they were like getting ready to have him change his name to Saul, to tell you the truth. It really seemed like it at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like, oh no, they like Jimmy too much. So we're going to let this ride. We're going to wait for him to sort of become Saul. So that's what they did. And so it's interesting to sort of see, like, and there's still people on the show who go, what? Yeah, what? He's Saul Goodman now? Like, there's still people who are surprised by it.
I like that though, right? That's what would happen. Everyone's calling him Jimmy still, and and even like what's her name's correcting them now. Yeah, and I think the thing is, this show initially was going to be like a half-hour sitcom or something. It was not going to be this. I remember there was an interview with Bob Odenkirk. Well, when it first started, and they said initially it was not going to be, it was going to be some completely different. And then they kind of wrote that first season. They had no idea how anybody was going to accept it. Like, I think that they didn't expect it to be as big a hit. So I don't think they initially expected to do 6 seasons of this show. You know, so maybe they expected like 2 seasons. So this final season might have always, like, they tend to do that in TV writers' rooms, where they'll build it out. They'll have a final season in mind so they can come to that conclusion when it's time. They can still kind of have other seasons in between, but they always have this final season ready to go. I think that's probably what we're seeing here. This is always the ending they had in mind for it. This is always how they're going to lead into Breaking Bad. And I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Well, okay, so we mentioned some of the stuff we've sort of I don't know, was there more with Saul and Kim, Jimmy and Kim in the episode that I'm forgetting here? There might be.
Well, they continue to work on their scam with Howard. I love that scene in the golf. Again, classic Saul. Again, I'm mixing up my episodes because I watched them together, but whatever. We'll be on track next week. But when he's in the country club saying anti-Semitic remarks or whatever it was, that was so funny.
Week. Yeah, that was last week.
So funny. That was just a great scene. But that whole thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say, and also the what did they call it? The valet scam.
Right, that with Hugo. Yes, that was this episode. Yes, that was a great scam. Like, that's classic Better Call Saul, Jimmy McGill. It's slipping Jimmy, right? That's his whole thing.
Get it done just in the nick of time.
But he lives on that. I think that's the whole point of that sequence and of that conversation with Huel afterwards. Like, he lives on this stuff. He loves the rush. And so does Kim. They both love it. That's what they love. That's what they share together. But I think you're right. I think that's going to backfire on them, and something's going to happen that they're going to, like, have one of them's going to call it quits. And it might not. You would think it's going to be Kim, but it might not be Kim. It might be Jimmy that says, no, this is too far.
But remember in Breaking Bad when Saul was nothing but comic relief when we first met him, just zany, wacky.
I want to go back and watch it now and see that. I'll do it after. We'll watch.
But he was cheap lawyer with a hairpiece, maybe, or maybe not, maybe just bad hair, and with the Constitution behind him on the wall, and it was just like he was just hilarious. But what I find really interesting is, okay, in light of the episodes we're seeing, and by the way, Jimmy has never looked worse. He looks gaunt. He looks kind of sickly almost. They've made him. He looks sad. Even when he's happy, it's just like it's tragic. And so it puts all of those Breaking Bad scenes in the context of Jimmy playing a role for the clients. That's what we're seeing there. We're seeing Jimmy playing the role of Saul for his drug clients who come in. And it makes all of that comic relief stuff, it gives it a different level of something going on than what we knew when we watched that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. And we're going to see, like, every time we saw Saul in his office in Breaking Bad, his office was full of like criminals, of sketchy people, right? You could see just his clientele was not the greatest. And now we have more, we kind of have an idea what those people were doing.
Yeah.
What they were involved in. That's sketchy. You said Constitution. That reminded me of the office decor. We get to see the inflatable Statue of Liberty that he takes from them. I don't know what he does. Doesn't he end up using that Statue of Liberty?
He likes it. Yeah.
Or he gets his own, maybe. He gets his own after he sees it. And just that whole, like, America decor of that tax trailer. Like, he really loves that. So we're starting to see, like, that kind of aesthetic come together that Saul Goodman, he's starting to put together. I mean, they even talked about that in the first episode, I think, about what that means, like what the brand of Saul Goodman is and kind of differentiating that. So that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, very good. And then of course, so we already sort of talked about the scene with the big scene with Nacho, and we have Mike looking through a sniper. And I kept thinking that things would not go the way it appeared they would go in that particular scene, because you've got Nacho has something in his hand. We know that. We know that Mike has a sniper on them. If they're ever going to take out these guys, that would have been the spot where you could have got them in that where you had
So
them.
Mike would take down who was all there again? Remind me. I should have it in front of me actually. It was just Salamanca,
The
Fring,
brothers,
and the brothers and that other guy, right? The other cousin or whatever is the main Salamanca, the guy who runs
right?
the cartel. That guy was there. So it was only like four of them. And so Mike would have taken them out. Are you suggesting Mike should have taken them out?
You could have, I think.
Well, I don't.
And when,
That's not Mike to do that though. Mike would never just assassinate people out of the blue,
yeah,
right?
but I thought this could have been this could have been a discussion they had before they went there that we didn't see. I thought there might have been something else happening that we were unaware of that we were going to find out about when this scene unfolded. And one of the questions I had, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but when Mike is looking through the sniper scope, Nacho grabs the guy, and he's got him, like he's holding him hostage, and he's got the gun. He's got the gun to the guy's head, and Mike says, "Do it." Does Mike mean kill the guy or kill yourself? Where he says, "Do it, do it." What does he say? What does he want to happen there, Mike? Does he want Nacho to kill himself, or does he want him to kill the guy he's holding hostage?
I think he wanted him to kill the guy. I think
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. But my question is, why doesn't Mike help him? I thought Mike was going to help him and take out the other guy, and then they just got the two old men. Like, just take out those twins, and you're good, right? Take out the killer brothers or whatever you call them, and then those just two old, one guy in a wheelchair and another guy in his mid-50s. Like, that's nothing. So I don't know. That was weird.
I thought that was an opportunity that had a plan. Had they hatched a plan, that would have been a place where you'd have a fighting chance of executing that plan. The problem is, they position those brothers as the ultimate badasses, and maybe they're the ultimate badasses, and they will, and if you miss, then you're pretty much dead yourself. So the play it safe is Nacho dies. The giant play is kill all of them. Try to kill all of them, and maybe you'll be successful, and maybe you won't. But it's kind of odd. Like he could look at them with a sniper rifle, and they were unaware of it. That implies that you could have done more that they would have been unaware of too.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. And maybe it's just that you can't. Those aren't. If you kill those people, the rest of the cartel will come after you. Maybe it was something like that, like we aren't quite thinking of. And maybe that's what Nacho was thinking as well, where he's like, even if we kill these guys, they're just going to send more. Like the cartel will just send them because it's about family or whatever, right? It's about the crime boss, and even if you kill these guys, someone else is going to come. So I think.
But then his actual family, his dad, that painful conversation he has with his dad.
Yeah.
Nacho does, and so there's family, and then there's family. And there's the crime family, and then there's the actual family. And Nacho shows himself to sort of he's like our moral compass on the show in a weird way. Like he's the criminal with a conscience who cares about his family. I thought he could have just very well have ended up in Winnipeg, ended up in Manitoba with his license. It could have happened. And I think he was pretty close to it happening, I have to say, to doing that. And I really thought there was an exit for him. I thought they were going to find a way to do that.
And show him in line at MPI, renewing his license.
He had to take.
Why can't I do this online? Damn it!
There's so much he had to do in this episode. He had to go under the oil. He had to take a beating. He got a little lunch.
It was his episode for sure. It was all about Nacho, and it was his send off, and he was very good. He went out on his own terms. It's an excellent character. I gotta say, I love that. I should get this actor's name right because I should know that.
It'll be a potential. It's absolutely an Emmy nomination.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, yeah.
Michael Mando,
yes, exactly. Yeah, he's excellent. I think I have seen him in other stuff. Now that I think about it, I think he's popped up. I mean, and it's unfortunate. I think I've seen him as like a Hispanic criminal stereotype thing, but hopefully he gets more now that he gets a nomination. If he gets a nomination, which he should, he'll get more work, and we'll see more of him going in other things. He's really
There is one cautionary tale about this week's episode. in real life. And that cautionary tale is, man, those spoilers were all over Twitter the next day, just everywhere. If you didn't watch it that night, it would have been spoiled. And you looked at Twitter, for me anyway, it would have been
Okay,
spoiled.
well, I didn't look at Twitter, so it wasn't spoiled. I watched it the next day.
Including the actor himself, including
well,
like there's
I mean,
all
that's kind of,
kinds
but
of
that's
stuff.
the nature of it, though. That's the
Yeah.
nature of it. You can't. People want to talk about it, and Twitter is a great place to do that. I used to do that with Mad Men. When
Yeah.
Mad Men was airing the final season, I would go
Right.
on Sunday night, glass of wine, tweet about Mad Men. It was fun. So I don't mind that at all. Just
I would
Twitter.
do the same thing, but then you just get everybody's angry at you. And you're like, well, I don't know, mute the terms or something. Like, do
Well,
something.
that's true
so
that they can do that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now that Elon Musk owns Twitter, we don't know what's going to happen with it. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh
all
my
gonna
God.
it's
Yeah,
all
that's
gonna
a whole
direct us
other.
to
Yeah.
oh shit, no, I was gonna say an Amazon joke, but that's the other guy. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, so any final thoughts on the third episode of Better Call Saul?
What was the last scene in the episode? I've already forgotten. What was it?
Let me find out.
I was so knocked on my ass by Nacho not making it to the end of the episode.
I think it was him. Oh no, the last scene was Kim. Oh no, this is next time. Yeah, and the other thing is they show these like next time or this season at the end of the thing as well, and that confuses me too.
Well, it doesn't tell you anything.
Right. No, and it just like
and it shouldn't tell you anything.
But here's the thing: I saw that again. This led to my confusion about the two first episodes because that played at the end of the one I watched. The first episode said this season. I'm like, okay, that's it. So I probably clicked away after that or something. I don't know. Right now, here's the end here with Kim. Oh no, this is just last time. I think it just ends with his death. It ends with the shot of the glass because he takes the glass and kills himself. Right? That's what he did. What did he do with the glass?
No, he shoots himself in the head. The glass is what he used to take the guy hostage.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. He shoots himself. Yeah, I think it just ends with them. Yeah, it ends with them taking them away. Everyone walks away, and they leave. And that's it. That's the final scene.
Yeah, because that's enough.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't, well, it's enough in the sense that even if there was something after it, I wouldn't have remembered it because that was such a big scene. Mm-hmm. As I say, it reminds me, it's the Better Call Saul equivalent of when Hank doesn't make it.
Exactly. Very similar look because it's out in the desert, as do many things happen out in the desert in this show. Now, one thing I'm forgetting about, I'm watching this on Prime on my browser, and I keep forgetting about they do this X-ray with trivia.
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah.
So I have not looked at this, but they say the flower shown in the first scene is a desert bluebell. They symbolize humility and everlasting love.
Okay.
I don't get the connection. I guess that's Nacho, I guess, because he loves his dad, right? I don't know.
I love the opening shots on every episode of Better Call Saul, and all imagery aside, in terms of what they might mean metaphorically, I just like how it kind of wades you into the episode. Just kind of gets you ready, and it's never in a hurry. These episodes are slow and studious and gripping, so gripping. You know, it's a perfect example of how people think they might not like a slow moving show, when in fact it's so gripping the way they do it. It's a good argument for a slow moving show.
Agreed. And I noticed while I was watching the credits, I was rewatching the credits to see if I could see the writers and see if they separated it out. And I noticed I was just watching it silently as I was like doing other stuff, and the credits pause for the action. So in the beginning, you see credits rolling as Nacho is like fleeing and he's hiding in the ditch from those farmers. And then he turns around and then the credits stop and there's something, and then it comes back. And like they actually pace out the credits with everybody very carefully. So you have time to read and still see what's happening. It's very, very well done. They do a great job overall. Yeah, you're right about the pacing, and it's so much fun to watch a show like this because it's so uncommon these days.
Yeah.
Like it's just I don't know any other show that does a slow burn like this.
No, it's masterful at what it does, and it's measured. It's very measured, and they'll punctuate it with scenes as opposed to, it's not high octane every second, but when little important moments happen, you really feel those moments for sure. And I'm glad they had Huel ask, what are you doing this for? Because it's great, because that's what lots of people watching at home would have thought. In fact, what I thought, why are you doing this? Like, you don't have to do this.
Right.
There's something else you could be doing with your time. Like there's no reason other than and of course, knowing that I think it was also, I wasn't a big fan of the season finale last year, but what I do like is everybody thinking that Lalo's dead and letting their guard down. And we know, the audience knows, the boogeyman is out there. The boogeyman is out there, and he has vengeance on his mind, and he is going to come for you. And it's not going to be pretty when he comes back. And I even think the little sort of discussion that Kim had with the district attorney about, he's dead, and maybe Jimmy might know something about this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And she's sort of discouraging him from even participating and that kind of thing. And you're like, these are all bad decisions based on what we know, based on where, like, they think that they're smarter than everybody else, but there's someone who's smarter, and that's the person who you think is dead. So I think that's the boogeyman's going to have to jump out of the shadows soon, and we're going to see, and not before probably wreaking some level of havoc.
No, but I think that's where this next few episodes are going to go. Like, this arc is going to wrap up at the end of this part with the Lalo storyline, and I think he's got to die. I mean, you don't see him in Breaking Bad, so he's got to die somehow, but we don't know how or what happens. So it'll be fun to watch. And I do think that is also going to wrap up this part of Better Call Saul. I think the next part is going to be the future. It's going to be, or the present, or whatever you want to call it, Cinnabon time. It's going to be like, what happens to Saul after Breaking Bad? Because that's what everybody really wants to hear. So that, so that's going to be the second part. That's what we're going to be very excited to see that.
See, El Camino showed us what happens to Jesse.
Right. Yes.
And and the answer was not very much, unfortunately. And so I think Saul deserves something more than that, than nothing. But I think also El Camino might not be finished in terms of giving Jesse a conclusion, and maybe even Walt. Yeah. So I think there's still some surprises this show has up its sleeve. And I think that I'll say, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the last episode will end with a surprise. It'll end on something that'll make us just want more. And maybe they'll give us more in some other series, or maybe they will not ever give us more. Maybe that'll be the final piece of punctuation on the show. But
I think they're going to give us more. I think that I don't know how well, quote unquote, El Camino did on Netflix. It was a Netflix release, but if enough people want to see it, Netflix will probably fund it, right? If they want to do another movie, they could just do a movie like that. If they want to continue part of that story. I don't know how much Walter and Jesse we're going to get in Better Call Saul. I think we might just get one scene or something, but that's my phone. But there was something I was going to say about it. No, I can't remember. I think we are going to continue. What it's certainly going to make me want to do is rewatch Breaking Bad. I'm going to do that regardless. Like, as soon as I'm done this, it's going to be like, boom, Breaking Bad season 1. Because it's literally been, when did Breaking Bad? I want to say it's been 7 years, 2015 or something like that, 2014. It's been a long time.
They're playing themselves, 15 years younger than they actually are? That's weird. Yeah. And I don't remember a Jimmy or Saul looking so haggard as he looks in Better Call Saul, but I might be wrong. But I think it's just interesting. It's interesting. Will it hold together in terms of what the actors look like? Yeah,
but he had a heart attack, so maybe it was like health reasons for Bob Odenkirk, right? Maybe that's why.
I think there's some level of making him like he becomes like more emaciated as he gets deeper into the show. And maybe it was just what he looked like. I don't think so, though. I think there's been some effort to kind of do that. I do. I remember seeing an interview with Francis Ford Coppola about Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. And he's like, at the end, Marlon Brando will be emaciated, and they'll find he'll be thin, and he'll be like, basically the jungle will have consumed his soul. And then Marlon Brando shows up on set, and he's like 300 pounds overweight or something. He's like, here I am to shoot my role. And he's like, okay, we'll change the story. Where he basically has consumed the jungle is the way that shows up. So, I mean, it's true that the way an actor looks sometimes will play into what the metaphor is or something.
Mhm.
But I just think it's, I would like to, for me, that's what I would like to see, the difference in physical appearance, especially given that they are older than they were, but playing themselves in the past. You know, but this is probably the best prequel that's ever been made.
Oh, for sure. And I gotta love I love the flip phones. I want to get a flip phone now because of all these flip phones they're using. Like those are so much fun to flip. Remember those? We only have for a short time, but they were really a lot of fun.
It was such a short time. I never even got one.
I think mine. I don't think actually I had a flip phone. I think I had a little phone like that or something. I don't know.
I went from a cordless phone in the house to an iPhone.
Right.
It was so fast. It was like what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll continue watching, of course, and give us your thoughts on Better Call Saul if you're watching along. You can follow us on our social media below. Until next time, I'm Dan Vedabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let Jimmy McGill hit you on the ass. I don't remember. What did I say last year?
I don't remember what we said. Oh, don't let the Senate hit you on the bond is what we said.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Also,
let me do it again.
Submit your suggestions for how to end the Saul podcast. Because we can't think of one clearly. Some people can submit their suggestions. Go ahead.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Senate hit you in the bond. That's a terrible tagline.
I know it is, but we'll come up with a better one.
All right.